let me do my thing. Let me do my thing. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Ellis. Welcome to the Greenway Gaming channel, your ultimate Magic channel. Today we're going to be playing a classic deck, Golgari Midrange. This is a very established deck, so it's not the most original. My variant is not the top tier meta deck that was so popular in Guilds of Ravnica, but this archetype, this idea is not very original. I have studied it a lot though, and I've put together something I think is somewhat unique and very fun to play. Golgari Midrange revolves around the Undergrowth mechanic. Let's take a look at Lotleth Giant so we can explain what that is. Undergrowth is this ability checks the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So dependent on how many creatures are in your graveyard, something happens. For example, when Lotleth Giant enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target opponent for each creature in your graveyard. Or we could have the Hatchery Spider. When you cast this spell, reveal top X cards of your library. X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. You may put a green permanent with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. There's Molderhulk. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. When he enters the battlefield, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, as you can see, tons of creatures here. In fact, this deck is exclusively 100% creature spells. Why is it 100% creature spells? Well, we're going to be putting our own creatures into our graveyard as fast and as efficiently as we can. How do we do that? We do that with the likes of 3 Stitcher Suppliers and 4 Glowspore Shamans. Both of these cards, when they enter the battlefield, put 3 cards from our library into our graveyard. Stitcher also puts them there when he dies. Alternatively, Glowspore lets us put a land from our graveyard on top of it in case we accidentally mill a land. We have Jadelight Ranger to replace the 4th copy of Stitcher Supplier. I like this card a lot, it's very strong, and we can also put creatures into the bin. Erstwhile Trooper, you can discard a creature card, which yes means it's going to the graveyard, and we get a positive benefit on this 3-drop. It turns into a 4/4 with trample, and it puts a creature into the graveyard, which is crucial for this deck. We run Ravenous Harpy, so we can sacrifice our Ravenous Chupacabras or our Stitcher Suppliers to buff it and get a higher Undergrowth count. We run Poison Tip Archer and Ravenous Chupacabra because we don't have any removal spells in this deck, so we need something to deal with their fat 6/6s, you know? Alright, so Ravenous Chupacabra destroys a target creature, Poison Tip Archer has Death Touch, and since we are trying to die with we're trying to have our creatures die a lot. So Poison Tip Archer's ability, whenever another creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life, can be pretty relevant. The kind of foundation of our deck is right here in 3 copies of Golgari Raiders and 2 copies of Rhizome Lurcher. These 5 cards in total each have very similar effects. They come in with a number of 1/1 counters on them equal to the number of creature cards in our graveyard. Rhizome starts as a 2/2. Golgari Raiders starts as a 0/0, but it has haste. So Golgari Raiders is always going to be 2 power, 2 toughness, less than our Rhizome Lurcher if we cast them on the same turn, but it has haste. So they're both great cards. They're really fun. And I think that's about it. Let's talk about Izoni Thousand-Eyed really quick, a rare card. She's great for this deck. When she enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token for each creature in your graveyard. Sacrifice another creature and pay 2 mana, you gain 1 life and draw a card. So the idea with her is we put out like 8 1/1 insects, and then we have our Ravenous Harpy sacrifice all of them, and he becomes a 9/10 flyer, which is just busted. Nullhide Ferox, this card is a fantastic card. 4-drop 6/6 is good enough on its own, but it's also hexproof. How about that? And its drawback is that you can't cast non-creature spells. However, we don't have any non-creature spells, so this isn't a drawback for us at all. And lastly, the last card in the deck is 1 Golgari Findbroker. Just in case we miss our Lotleth Giant, if it gets in the graveyard somehow, we can pull it out with this card and go straight to their face with like 15 damage, which is so satisfying. Winning with Lotleth is perhaps one of my favorite ways to win a game of Magic right now. So, without further ado, let's jump into some gold rank matches and try to climb with this Golgari mid-range deck. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy. First game of ranked of the day with our Golgari mid-range deck. We're up against Ricky Chill. We have a Glowspore Shaman, Ochran Assassin. I forgot to mention this card. We'll talk about it as the match begins. We're going to keep this hand. It's pretty good. We even have a Lotleth in hand. That's really the only place it's safe. Because as you will see, we're going to be throwing creatures into the graveyard as fast as possible. So Ochran Assassin is a pretty special card in my heart. It's an assassin in two senses, essentially. First of all, it has Death Touch, and all creatures able to block it have to. So, no matter what, you get to pick which creature your opponent has that you're going to kill. And it frees up all your other creatures to attack, so you're assassinating both a creature and their face, essentially. Love this card. Hopefully we get to use it this match. Let's go ahead and drop our tap land. We're up against white-black here. That feels fine, I think. Aggro's a little bit of a problem for us, but the late-game decks we can usually get ahead of and push an advantage. Alright, we're up against life-gain vampires. Life gain could be a little bit of an issue, but we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead and play a Glowspore Shaman. We're hoping for creatures. 1, 2, 3 creatures. Beautiful. We only need 17 more to do lethal with Lotleth. That's the goal. That's the plan right now. If he attacks here, we trade. No questions asked. A Hatchery Spider. Gonna throw down another Glowspore Shaman. 2 more creatures. Beautiful. We're gonna go ahead and take a land, too. We only have 1 in hand, and I want to curve out into Lotleth here. Or Hatchery. We'll see. And we're going to attack. We don't mind if Glowspore dies, because it's just another creature in the graveyard, essentially. Our opponent seems to recognize our deck, so he's not going to trade here. Perhaps he should have, because next turn we're getting Poison Tip Archer out, and it's going to make those trades a lot more inefficient for him, because it'll cost him 1 life every time a creature dies. Okay, so Legion Lieutenant's a little bit of a problem. So we're going to go ahead and drop the Ochran Assassin to get rid of it. Next turn, of course, but like I said, we're going to swing for the fences with this deck. With a lot of our low drop creatures, if they die, it's not such a big deal to me. Now there is a chance he has removal in his hand to get rid of our assassin. If he has removal, he should get rid of it. Oh, he's going to trade here. I was not expecting him to drop the Legion Lieutenant there. I guess he sees it's going to go down next turn anyways. But we're going to preserve our assassin for Lotleth. Alright, we have the Poison Tip Archer now. It has reach, which means it can block creatures with flying. We don't want to attack with Assassin right now. We're going to wait until we have lethal on the board, essentially. So now we're just hoping to draw into a couple lands. 2, exactly. That's a pretty good draw. That's a 7/7 haste. That could wipe his board, essentially. So I think we're going to play Golgari Raiders here. And we're going to attack with it. He has 7 toughness and blocking potential here, so he could block everything to kill it, but we could take out every single one of his creatures. He's just going to chump 1. And he's not going to get any life gain from it since we have Poison Tip Archer in play. Seal Away hurts a little bit here. I wasn't expecting Prison Tech. We have no enchantment removal, so Golgari Raiders is as good as dead. Well, worse than dead, because it's not in our graveyard, actually. We top deck another Assassin. We don't really need the Assassin, but... Geez, I wish we would have got it a land. We'll play the Erstwhile Trooper. And we're just going to sit back a little bit. Hopefully we draw into like a Stitcher Supplier. Vraska's Contempt on our reach creature is a little bit of a problem. So if he throws down more flying, we need to attack with Ochran Assassin. Our Hatchery Spider has reach, but we don't have the lands to play it yet. That's a top deck and a half. We're going to discard a creature here. We just have to trust that our deck is better with more creatures in the graveyard. So I know I was hyping up the Assassin, but we already have one on the board, and I doubt we're going to lose it. If he has removal, the Poison Tip Archer is his priority right now, so Assassin is safe essentially. He can attack with his 1/1s here. But he doesn't. Kraul Foragers is a pretty good draw here also. We could use the life, so we'll gain a cheeky 8 real quick. Up to 17. Feels great. And we have no need to attack right now. So his deck is more on the aggro side of things, which means now that we've kind of stabilized and made it into the mid-game, the mid-range area, so to speak, we have a little bit of an advantage, and you can see that in our board control here. Okay, so he probably has a Moment of Craving or a Fungal Infection here. We're going to block. I'm happy with trading. This is a tough decision. I know Poison Tip Archer's done for here. Oh, Moment of Triumph. Interesting. Death Touch is still enough to kill it, fortunately. And maybe we top deck our third Poison Tip Archer. Chupacabra will do the trick. No more flying for our opponent. And we're still just hoping to draw into some lands here. We're bluffing with the Erstwhile Trooper. He could trade 1-for-1 with it, but he's not going to because he knows we can discard a creature card to make this a 4/4 trample, and that's just not an efficient trade for him. But since I know he's not going to block since I'm bluffing, we're just going to get in for a cheeky 6 damage here. We're 2 away from Lotleth range. Another Call to the Feast. It's a little bit of a bummer. And into Johnny's Pride Mate. Alright, so we are on a little bit of a clock now. We don't have any Death Touch or removal for a Johnny's. We need to draw into another Ravenous Chupacabra or a Poison Tip Archer. Clutch draws this game. You know what? I think we just sit back now that we have the poison tip archer out. This way, if he attacks with his 5/1/1s, we can shut them all down and he won't gain any life from them. Because we just need a couple lands and then we win this game. A Rhizome Lurcher is an 11/11. That feels pretty good. So now we have lethal on the board next turn. 2, 4, 8, 10 damage right here because of the assassin. 21. Next turn though. He has to remove the assassin or the lurcher or he loses. That's not going to cut it. And we're going to take game number 1 here. He's freaking out right now, like, why can't I block this poison tip archer? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because this card, Ochran Assassin, is one of the best in the game. Every single one of his creatures has to block here. Which opens up his face for 11, 13, make that 15, 19, 21, 24 damage. We'll kill the Pridemate first, of course. We'll discard our Hatchery Spider. And he survives with 1. But since 2 creatures died, Poison Tip Archer comes through clutch. That was a great game number 1. I love this deck. It's fantastic. Aethelwolf is our next victim here. Okay, this hand's decent, but we don't really have anything that puts creatures in the graveyard right away. If we're up against aggro, we're in trouble. If we're up against control, I think we're okay. So let's keep it. It'd be greedy to mulligan this hand, I think. We have 7, 8 cards that mill ourselves here. And we have Molderhulk in hand. So if we get one of those, we could have a pretty sick turn 3 or 4. Rhizome Lurcher, the MVP of last game, alongside our Ochran Assassin. I love this card. Gosh. Poison Tip Archer is a fine draw. Typically, if I'm playing a deck with green, I like to let them think I'm playing mono green first, because they'll be expecting mana ramping at first, which might let them kind of play a little bit. Alright, looks like we're up against a Merfolk deck, so forget whatever I was saying. He's going to be going all out. Ochran Assassin is pretty clutch in this matchup because we can take out whatever Merfolk happens to be the most important. Same goes for Chupacabra. Just need to draw into lands now, and our hand is great. If we miss a land drop here, we're in trouble. We're going to take out the Mistbinder. He probably has another one. Oof, Jadelight Ranger would have been clutch if we had 2 green. We're in trouble. Especially if he hits a land here. Thank heavens. Now, I think we play the Chupacabra to get rid of his life gain and card draw here. The trick to beating a Merfolk deck is to kind of just keep their board from going wide. We're on a 12 clock timer here. We take this trade, no problem. We're hitting lands now, it feels good. I think we Jadelight Ranger first. Two more lands, so we're up to Lotleth Giant and Molderhulk now. We're at 5, 2 in hand, makes 7. So even if we don't get any more creatures into the graveyard, Molderhulk is in play, and that's a 6/6. Plus we get a land back, but there aren't any in there, so that's not quite as efficient as I'd like it to be. Okay, that's an interesting draw. We're going to make use of the Harpy this game, I think. We could have a 4/4, but if we Harpy first, we can sack the Jadelight Ranger. No need to do it quite yet. We can attack with Jadelight first. Alright. So our Harpy's dead, which means it's going to the graveyard. We're going to sack the Jadelight Ranger now, while we can. You just gotta trust me, getting creatures into the graveyard is the way this deck works. So Rhizome Lurcher went from being a 4/4 to a 6/6. We have lots of options now. 7 lands. I can't play 2 cards here, so we're just going to play the Rhizome Lurcher and start pressuring him. He might have Sleep or some Water Trap or Weaver. We run Growthspile in our Merfolk deck. That's cool to see. It's catching on. Okay, now we're at a 5-turn timer. A little bit less, honestly, with the River Sneak's passive ability. Let's attack first and see what happens. Perhaps I should have played the Archer first in case he blocks with Jadelight Ranger. He takes an extra damage. But I didn't anticipate him blocking, honestly. And I think we play another 6/6. We have 5, 9 lands. So we could play Kraul and Poison Tip Archer. We need the health. Because if he plays another Merfolk, we're dead. Even without playing another Merfolk. wish I had Assassin out still. So yeah, let's Kraul to get some health back. Poison tip. We can only block these two creatures, and these two will do the job just fine. So we're going to go ahead and swing for 12. We're pretty close to lethal here. I'm sure he has a Merfolk to play, maybe even 2 or 3. There's 5 damage we can't block. Alright. Looks like we have this game in the bag. We're going to play the Glowspore Shaman here, and we're going to hit 3 creatures. I have a good feeling about it. He can't block. Oh, alright, we hit lands. That's a bummer. But we're going to Lotleth for 5. And send the boys. If he has fog, we lose, probably. But he doesn't. So we win. Good game, opponent. We're ranked up to Gold Tier 3. Zutza, 2004 is our opponent. God, I hope that's not his birth year, or I'm going to feel like a jerk. I'm sorry, I bumped the mic there. No black. We need 2 sources. His hand doesn't look that great. That looks better. Yeah, we'll keep Poison Tip. There we go, we can turn 4 Nullhide Ferox and get some pressure on, show off that beast of a card. We have no turn 3 play, so we're going to play the tap land, and we're going to see if we can trade with his Daybreak Chaplain. It's just another one in the graveyard, boys. Feels good. I think we get out the Ferox here and try to get some quick pressure. See if we can get a quick win. Or at least deal with one of his removal spells. He could have prison cards like Seal Away. Okay, he's an enchantment deck for sure. He can't attack here, surely. Two poison tips is good. Let's start... Yeah, let's throw out a poison tip and attack with the Nullhide. This guarantees he's going to take at least 1 damage. He elects to take 6 instead. Here comes the Seal Away. Nope. Alright, maybe he's not running any control here. That's good for us. Good news. Play a second poison tip. And we'll attack with the Nullhide again. He should double block here. But he chooses to go down to 9. Here comes the Seal Away. Ah, Luminous Bonds. Where do you get that mana? Okay. Okay, I see. I guess we throw out our third poison tip. And honestly, we can attack with these. We're trying to bait him into tapping here. Okay, now we need to slow our roll a little bit. And draw into something more powerful. Like a land. Land would be nice. Just have vigilance. Hatchery Spider. Let's Glowspore. Ooh, Molderhulk. And yeah, we're going to take a land here. We're going to take a forest is fine. Let's force him to trade with us here. So that's 1 damage he's taking. That's 2 damage he's taking. That's 3 damage he's taking. He drops down to 2. But he has lifelink, so... I don't know what just happened. Wait, what? How many creatures died? Holy cow. Okay, so that worked. So let's take 1 elf at a time. 2 elves died, and 3 of his creatures died. So there's 5. And you repeat that 2 more times, so 10, 15 damage from attacking with those 3 elves. Guaranteed, even if their combat damage doesn't go through. Oh, Poison Tip Archer is just busted. What was that? Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. That was a fantastic interaction there. Hilarious. Yeah, I'll see you in the next game, I guess. I'll play 1 more. Why not? Kai is our opponent. He's a tier below us. This is a great opening hand. Ooh, that kind of stinks. 2 lands and Izoni. Selesnya. Alright, we can turn to Glowspore Shaman now. 2 creatures, feels good. We're good on lands, so let's say no thank you. Looks like we're up against the gate deck instead of Selesnya. Ravenous Harpy. Golgari Raiders might get off to a quick start this game. Okay, not a gate deck. Not sure what we're up against. This is pretty unique. By unique, I mean Ajani is probably one of the most used cards at this rank, but whatever. Let's go ahead and sack both of these. And we'll fly. We have 10 damage on the board if he attacks with the Johnny's Pridemate. Ooh, Cleansing Nova stinks. His deck's all over the place. Not sure what we're up against. Cleansing Nova, Jadelight Ranger, and an Ajani's Pridemate. Alright. Let's go ahead and Golgari Raiders. If he drops a land, our board is wiped, but he's in Lotleth range. And a Lotleth win is the only thing this video needs to be an absolutely perfect Golgari midrange video. We almost had one. Let's go ahead and sacrifice it, so it goes to our graveyard instead of being exiled. We're one land away from lethal. We have lethal next turn if he doesn't Cleansing Nova. We can play the Kraul Foragers and then sack it to deal 5 damage through the air. Surely he Cleansing Nova's here, right? He's got to. What else could he do? Play a flyer? Healer's Hawk, maybe? Land, land, land. Good game. That's how you do it. Boom! Love Lotleth Giant. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching these games. I hope you had a good time. We climbed very efficiently. I went 4-1, I think, on this recording session. So very fast, very easy. This deck is great. Golgari midrange, highly recommended if you're trying to climb. You know what time it is. Let's go open a pack. Alright guys, it's the end of the video. Time to open yet another pack. Ravnica Allegiance, again here today. Let's open her up and see what we get. Alright, another Debtor's Transport. Ill-Gotten Inheritance. This card's okay, it's not terrible. A wild card. Humongous. Humongous isn't that good. Gravelhide Goblin. A Gruul card. It's okay. That's kind of cool. It's a bear with a effect, so not a terrible card, but not great. A Bankrupt in Blood. Sack 2 creatures, draw 3 cards, so it's kind of like Costly Plunder, just a little bit more expensive. And our rare is Judith the Scourge Diva. Awesome! I haven't had this card yet. Other creatures you control get +1/+0, already good. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Judith the Scourge Diva deals 1 damage to any target. So we can build a pretty nasty sacrifice deck just with these 2 cards right here. Pretty exciting. Alright guys, I will see you tomorrow.